All right, going to get started this morning. Last time I was here, we did a piece out of the life of David and did a little bit of poetry that went along with David's life and talked about Psalms 52. I had one or two people mention that they would like to hear more about Hebrew poetry. So we're going to get a little bit of an introduction to it for this morning's class. So we're going to discuss it. I don't know, I prepared about half of my material. Maybe we'll get through it. Maybe we won't. But it ought to be enough to also go with the lesson that we're going to talk about during worship. Hebrew poetry is different from English poetry. In Hebrew poetry, or in English poetry, we rhyme sounds. And so we rhyme the endings of lines so that they sound the same. We're concerned about the rhythm of the words to get moods across in that way. That's nice when we're talking in English, but when you try to translate that to another language, what happens? If I take an English poem and put it in Spanish, what happens? It gets confusing. It just loses all the flavor of it because the words are there, but it doesn't have the rhymes, it doesn't have the rhythm, it does, the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, it sounds like a horse galloping if you actually read it in English. But you do that in Spanish and it's definitely not a horse. Okay, Hebrew poetry is different though. Hebrew poetry basically plays with rhyming ideas, playing word games with the various meanings of words. You contrast ideas, you compare ideas, you create patterns of various ideas. And since it's based on the concepts, it's very easy to translate this into other languages because still the concepts are there. And so that's how Hebrew poetry basically works, and we're going to take a look at that. So the first one we're going to look at is where we just have comparisons of two ideas and we're talking basically the same thing. It's called a synonymous comparison. The idea is expressed basically twice in a line. If you ever notice that a lot of the poems you're saying, wait a minute, you just said that, why are you saying that again? Well, that's the poem. That's the poem part. The use of varying words. Why would I want to vary the words? Now that I got it up on the screen, but why would I want to vary the words?
Try to get it to a word that the reader understands.
Okay, a word that the reader understands. Also, sometimes every word that we use has shades of meaning, and that's true in any language. We have multiple words for different things, and different words have just a little bit different connotations. By using different words at the same time, we're narrowing down exactly what do I mean between it. So it can convey a more exact thought. Let's just take an example of this, and maybe that'll help a little bit. Over in Psalms 19, and I would like someone to read verses 1 and 2. Psalms 19, verses 1 and 2. Okay, where are the pairs of words? They're same meanings. Okay, heaven and expanse. Yeah, I color-coded it for you. Now, do you see the pattern there? The heavens declare the glory. The firmament will show and declare the same. The glory of his handiwork. Okay? Day unto day. How long is it day unto day? You go from day to day, how long is that? 24 hours. If I go from night to night, how long is that? That's still 24 hours. So we're still talking about the same thing. Utters, reveals. Notice the first two were showing something. The verbs are to show something more on the visual scale. The second two are doing it, showing it by verbal ways. Okay, his speech and his knowledge. Okay, that's what Hebrew poetry is about. Is finding these little patterns to show the layout. They're in a sense rhyming ideas. Okay. Now we're going to go over to Psalms 24. I'm just picking out little pieces just to give you examples. Psalms 4, verses 1 and 2. Okay. Now, not every element necessarily has to match, but also what we want to know is that we don't have to do it in this one. Everything's nicely in order. Okay. It doesn't have to. Where's the pairs in this one? In Psalms 24. Okay, earth and world. Yeah. Okay. So notice in this one, it's the earth is the world. It's the beginning of the two lines here. It's in the middle because it is still the world in the second two lines. Okay. The Lord's is he in the second set. So that ties the two sets together. Okay, so we don't have to necessarily go in nice, neat order all the time. You're allowed to mix it up. Okay, and in this case, the mixing up allows you to take those two sets of lines, tie them together by saying God. Between them. Now go over to Job, chapter 3 and verse 17. Okay, where are the pairs? There. That's an obvious one. Yeah. Cease from troubling and ceasing, and then are at rest is basically roughly stating the same idea. But notice not everything has to match. Okay. Now, between the wicked and the weary, there's a reason for it. I need to get further into this discussion to talk about why how those are related to each other. Okay, but I want you to see at least there's synonymous pairs in here. So everything doesn't necessarily have to pass or match. Psalms 22 and verse 6. Who wants to read that one?
But I am a worm and not a man, and reproach of men and despised by people.
Okay, where are the pairs here?
Worm and reproach.
A worm is not a reproach. Unless maybe you get grossed out by worms, I don't know. See, sometimes we got to be careful. Sometimes the matches are within the line. I'm a worm. Well, a worm is not a man, right? That's where the pair is. A reproach of man, despised by people. That's where the pair is. So here the pair is within the lines. Okay. Now, that is the synonymous ones, where we've got matching ones. There's another one that's called antithetic. Okay, and that's when instead of comparing two similar things, we take the opposites. So, Proverbs 3 and verse 33. Proverbs 3, verse 33. Proverbs 3:33. Did I write down the? I'm going. Boy, that's a different translation.
The curse of the Lord is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the dwelling of the righteous.
Okay, here I want you. Where are the opposites? Pardon? Cursed and blessed. Curse is doing what? Yeah, is wishing somebody evil or wickedness. Blessing is wishing somebody happiness and joy. It's the opposite. Okay, what's the other one? The wicked and the righteous. Now that seems fairly clear. Okay? It doesn't have to be a perfect contrast. Okay? Both lines speak of the Lord and of houses or homes. So houses and homes are actually synonymous. Okay, but I want to just point out the antithetic. By the way, let's pull this one apart while we're here. The curse of the Lord is on the house of the wicked. What's the difference between a house and a home? Yeah. Yeah, but notice who has a house? Who has a home? The just, the righteous. See, there's more going on than just on the surface here. Okay, he blesses the home. That's something, that's where family is. Where the wicked just has a house, is a thing. They're not as connected to other people. All right. Oops. Matthew 8 and verse 20. See, some of these are actually in the New Testament because what kind of people wrote the New Testament? Jewish people. Okay, the New Testament is written in what language? New Testament? Greek. New Testament is written in Greek. They spoke Aramaic, but the New Testament's written in Greek. And guess what? Even though it's in Greek, people still spoke in a Hebrew style. Hebrew poetry. And this is one of Jesus' statements. So, Hebrews 8, verse 20. Now, maybe you didn't think about, Jesus just said a poem. Where are the opposites? There's actually synonymous and antithetics in this. Yeah, Foxes and birds are animals, right? Are animals men? The answer is no. They're the opposites. They're not necessarily the opposite. They're not the same. Okay, but birds and foxes have homes. They have nests and they have places to live, holes. But the Son of Man, who is not an animal, has what? Nowhere to lay it. He doesn't have a place to stay. It becomes an opposite. So the first two lines are synonymous, and the last line is an antithetic to show the contrast. So what's the point here? What point was Jesus trying to get across?
Teaching in a form something that they would understand, that he's not being very well treated on here.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to get across. Animals have it better than I do. Okay. Back to Proverbs. Proverbs 29, verse 18.
But
Yeah.
there's no vision. The people are understanding, but happy is he who keeps the law.
Okay. Where are the opposites? Or the pairs?
No vision in the law.
Yeah. You have a law, but why no vision? Why is it, huh? Yeah, having God tell you something versus God's not telling you anything. Okay? But there's actually other ones in there. Notice the first line says cast off restraints. The other one says keeps. Okay? And what about notice the people versus he. What's the difference?
They're wicked.
You had,
The people are wicked, but he is righteous.
yeah, that's what in thing, but in general. Yeah, you got plural versus singular. Okay? Where there's no revelation, the plural, in other words, how many are there wicked versus how many righteous? There's a lot more wicked. The people, so we use plural to say there's a lot more wicked. They cast off restraint, but happy is he. There's very few righteous who keeps the law. Okay, and notice that then again, the order doesn't have to be the same. We can mix them up between the lines. Proverbs 15, verse 17.
Better is a dish of vegetables where love is than a fattened ox served with hatred.
Okay. This one should be at least one crop contrast is easy. What's that? Well, love and hatred, yeah, that's easy. Okay, but we can also do one where instead of a direct contrast, we can compare by degrees. Dinner of herbs versus a fatted calf. Okay. You can go vegetarian or you can go full-blown beef. Which most people like the beef better. Okay, so here's a contrast of one is better than the other. Okay, but where love is with hatred is the contrast that's being made there. Psalm 73 and verse 26.
There's also an expense there that's different than when you're speaking.
Pardon?
There's also a very different expense
True. I didn't even think about that. Yes. There is a difference in expense. But going on, Psalm 73, verse 26.
Flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever.
Now I picked this one because there are contrasts, but there are it's a little bit of different style. I'm going to show it to you. Notice this is my flesh, my heart versus God. But my is done twice, and God's done once. But my heart will fail once. God is my strength and my portion forever. Something of strength is strength and forever talks about something that lasts versus something that doesn't. Okay. So why? What's the emphasis? Why put 2, 1, 1, 2? Yeah. It lasts. Okay. But it's giving an extra emphasis. When it's all about me, it doesn't work. When it's about God, the emphasis, it always works. It stays there. By doubling it, it's putting emphasis on it. So we're emphasizing with the doubles. But while we have contrast, we don't necessarily have to do 1, 1, 1. It could be 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can go that way. Okay. That's the real basics of it. But we can get other forms of patterns. There's another one that's called synthetic. I have no idea why they call this synthetic, but that's the official word for it. It's a relationship where one idea is derived from the other, or is the result of another. It's a cause and effect type of relationship, or a condition followed by a consequence, or an explanation of something. Those are all synthetics. So like for instance, the Lord is my shepherd. What's the result of that? I shall not want. So I showed that with an arrow. Okay, so because the Lord is my shepherd, the result is I won't want. Okay? Psalms 99 verse 3. Psalms 99 verse 3. Okay, that last phrase, what's the saying? Because God is holy, what? Yeah, notice the arrow goes the other direction. Okay? Oops, my arrow's backwards. It should be going the other direction. When I copied and pasted, the arrow reversed on me. I didn't notice that. It's right in my book. But the arrow's supposed to go the other direction. Okay. So because God, these synthetics doesn't have to necessarily go in order. Now in Job 9 and verse 3.
If one was just in dispute with him, he could not answer him once in 1,000 times.
Okay, so this one's a little easier spot because it says if. So we got if, then. All right? And So, what's the point? Can't argue with God. Why?
You don't know the answer.
Yeah, I might, Joe, I think Joe's being a little generous. Maybe one time out of 1,000, I might get the right answer. Be kind of frustrating, God's always outthinking us. All right, so that's the point you're thinking. Now, Psalms 24, verse 9. This one is actually a combination. So it's 24, verse 9. Psalms 24, verse 9.
Lift up your head, O gates, and lift them up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in.
Okay, so what do you see in this one?
Like a city welcoming the King.
Yeah, but as far as the poetry elements,
Open your door because the King's coming.
okay, notice there's two lift ups. What is that? That's a synonymous. We got the same. One says gates, one says doors. That's another synonymous. Okay? And then the ending gives us the conclusion. The King of Glory shall come in. Why two lines for the beginning and one for the ending? Emphasis. Hurry up, open up, because the King is coming. Okay, so it's to give that impression of somebody, the guard is saying, the King's coming, hurry up, open that gate. Move those doors, rush. You don't dally with the King. Okay, so that helps get that across. So when you see doubling like that, it's oftentimes for emphasis. Now, there's another one that's a little more subtle. And we actually in writing, we have things called ellipses. Anybody, you're writing something, you put 3 dots down. What is the 3 dots for?
And so on, or and like so.
Yeah, and actually what it means is I'm leaving out something. The 3 dots means it's called an ellipses. Okay? You can do that in writing. An ellipses is where you've left something out and you want the reader to fill in the gap. You do it on purpose to engage the reader's mind. Okay, you're making him think. Okay? So in other words, then the reader is now actively involved in trying to understand. And so what you have to do is do comparisons on what is not said to find it. And like I said, a little more subtle. So we're going to go to Proverbs 11 and verse 2. Proverbs 11, verse 2. Now, when I look at that, what do I immediately see as far as, we got synonymous and antithetic. What do I see? Okay. Pride and humble are opposites, right? Is dishonor and wisdom opposites? No, it doesn't quite fit. Okay, and so we look at it with pride, that's easy, but dishonor and wisdom, that doesn't. So clearly the two lines are antithetic, but we're leaving out something. But if you add in the opposites, what would be the opposite of dishonor? Honor or glory. What's the opposite of wisdom? Foolishness. So when pride comes, one is foolish, and the result is dishonor. When somebody's humble, they're wise, and the result is honor or glory. Okay, so he's packing more information in there by leaving something out. It's implied in there without actually stating it. Okay, let's take a look at Proverbs 11, verse 28.
Keep your trust and riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like the green leaf.
Okay? So where's the opposites? It appears to be opposites because it has a button there. That kind of gives you a clue. Yeah, fall and flourish would be kind of basically opposites. But we got the person who trusts in his riches, that's not the opposite of righteous, not really, kind of. What is the opposite of righteous? Pardon? Unrighteousness or wickedness. Well, what's the opposite of somebody who trusts in his trust in his riches? Okay, trust in God. Okay, so if I put in the opposites, the wicked is a person who trusts in his riches, and they'll fall. The righteous is someone who doesn't trust in riches, trusts in God instead, and will flourish, like the foliage. You know, by the way, why use leaf terminologies? Sign of growth and life. But think about it this way. With a tree, can a tree lose leaves? Maybe not in Florida, but maybe they have trouble. Around here, you know, trees lose leaves every fall, right? What happens? They always come back. The righteous, they might have problems, they might stumble, but they're like the leaves, they'll always come back. Where the wicked, we lose the whole tree. They fall. Okay. Proverbs 24, verse 16.
The righteous man falls 7 times and rises again, but the wicked stumbles in time of clarity.
Calamity, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, clarity, falling in times of clarity would. I finally can see. Oops. Yeah, again, take a look at that. The righteous man, the wicked, those are opposites, may fall, shall fall. Well, those are synonymous. Okay, 7 times by calamity and rises again. So the may fall and shall fall are similar. They're kind of different though. But there's really no parallel to rise again. So what's missing? Yeah, it doesn't say the wicked will rise again. So what's missing is the wicked fall by calamity, and that's it. They don't get back up. Righteous people don't get up. Why 7 times? That's I'm not going to get into that real much this time. But why 7? Pardon? Yeah, actually, in Hebrew, the word for 7 and the word for oath, it's the same letters. You just give it a little bit different vowel sounds. So it's a pun, in a sense, in Hebrew, to go between. And that's why, if you read like Abraham, he makes an agreement with Abimelech, and he calls it the well of 7. It's also the well of oaths, because there's a little pun being played, because it's basically the same word, just said a little bit differently. Okay, but here, so what he's saying here is it becomes then the number for perfection. No matter how often the righteous falls, he's not saying 7 is a literal number. He's saying 7. Righteous people just always get back up. It's a complete. They may fall, and notice again. Notice the subtle difference between the righteous and the wicked as far as falling. What's the difference between may fall and shall fall? So what does it tell you about righteous and wicked people?
He may not fall either, but wicked will.
Yeah, the righteous don't always fall. But guess what? The wicked we can give you a guarantee. The wicked will fall. Okay. Another one, I won't take time to go through it, but in Proverbs 11, if you look at Proverbs 11, this one when I was teaching the Proverbs class, it was really interesting because you go through Proverbs 11 and it's just this constantly the righteous, the wicked, the righteous, the wicked, the righteous, the wicked, the righteous, the wicked, except for right in the middle in verse 7. So Proverbs 11 verse 7. Yeah. What happened to where's the wicked? Or where's the righteous, sorry? Every verse before that, you got 6 verses in before that is righteous, wicked, righteous, wicked, righteous, wicked. And then suddenly you got wicked.
Insinuating that righteous doesn't perish or die.
Yeah, it's left as an implication. It's left for you to fill out and by the way, if you continue on, this is right in the middle. Go the other side for another 6 verses. It's righteous, wicked, righteous, wicked, righteous. Right in the middle is just one. You got 6 with one in the middle that's just wicked. But the other ones are all pairs. Okay. When a wicked man dies, there's this parallels. The unjust is parallel, so we got 3 of them. He dies, he perishes, he perishes. You got 2 of them, his hope and his expectation. Why say it 3 times? If twice is emphasis, what's 3 times? A certainty. It will happen. Okay? A wicked man dies. He's going to perish. He's going to die. And with it, we're going to say bye-bye to any of his hopes or expectation. So what does that say about the righteous? It says we know because there's contrast all around it, we should be able to take the opposite. It's being implied. So what's the opposite of this? The righteous do not perish. What about their hope and expectation? It doesn't perish either. It's fulfilled, yes. And since there's certainty with the wicked, what do we know about the righteous? It's a certainty too. I find this fascinating. You can say a whole lot of stuff by not saying anything. You just leave it out and you said a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, another one. There's another relationship. It's called emblematic. I can't say it right. Emblematic. There we go. That's the ones you get on those tests, you know. If A is to B and B is to C, then... Okay, it's those type of relationships. We compare two sets of things and draw conclusions from them. So, Psalms 42, verse 1, as the deer pants for the water brooks, so my soul pants or longs for you, O God. Okay? So we're comparing A is a deer. How badly does a deer want water? How long can you go without water? How long can a deer go without water? Not very long. For the same reason, my soul needs what? Needs God. I need it just as badly as some animal needs to get a drink of water. I can't go long without my God. All right. Take a look at then Proverbs 11 verse 22. I'll give them. Yes.
As a ring of gold is in a swine's snout, so is a beautiful woman who lacks discretion.
By the way, most of these you can spot by the as and so. That's the easy way to spot it. So what are we comparing? Why do we put rings in pig snouts? To direct them, but also keep them from digging. Keep a pig will root right underneath the fence. Okay, so they put a ring in a pig's snout. So if I put a gold ring in a pig's snout, what does that do?
Makes it so much better.
It really doesn't change. It still functions the same way, and it doesn't do anything for the pig. He said, now if you understand that, then what does that say about, he wants to compare that to a lovely woman who lacks what? What's discretion? Pardon? No, actually not. Taste? Discretion is a little easier. Pardon? Getting closer. Discretion is actually the ability to make good choices. That's what it is. Discretion, the word there means the ability to make good choices. That's why I was thinking, taste. Yeah. But the word there is it's for somebody who can make a good choice. If you got a beautiful woman and she makes bad choices, what does it say about her beauty? It doesn't matter. She can be dead gorgeous. It doesn't matter. If she can't make good choices, it doesn't do anything for her. The beauty doesn't do anything for her. Which is important when you're talking about young guys, because what do young guys always look for in a girlfriend? Typically. Most young guys focus on what a girl looks like. And what's more important? Her discretion, her ability to make good judgments. That's going to be far more important than how she looks. And so that's what the point is there. All right. That's all the simple ones. Okay, those are just comparing phrases. They get more and more complex. There are patterns with series that we could go through. I'm going to save that for another time. The lesson today, we're going to use this. And what I want you to, if you start paying attention to this, when you get to a piece of poetry, especially when you know it's poetry, and you start labeling, try to find the parallels and stuff like that. The opposites, the one leads to another. Start looking at how to lay it out. Because if you can lay it out, it suddenly opens up the meaning to the verse. It tells you a little bit more about what the person's trying to get across to you. And suddenly you can see how to organize the thought. It doesn't look like just random thoughts. You find out there was really a lot of emphasis, and they're playing games to put emphasis on certain sections and group various ideas. So we'll, Lord willing, if I get a chance again, I'll give you the second half. All right. Hope that was useful.